All right, so now we have
So we
Kortschnoj.
have another very nice game against Kortschnoj, also very strong opponent. Kortschnoj played the main variation from Caro-Kann. Until a certain point, we have everything is theory, until now. So now H4, H6.
Is this theory?
H5, theory, everything is theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I explain until where, So H5, bishop there, knight F3, knight D7, no, E6 first, bishop D3, takes with the queen, knight D7, bishop F4. Now the best move for black is queen A5 check to force C3 or bishop back. Bishop D2 is main line, you see, theory again. Queen A5 check, good. Now bishop D2, queen C7. Now comes to C7. And now castle, long side. Knight F6, yeah. And here, and bishop D6. Well, this is a little bit a novelty, a small novelty. Instead of bishop D6, black could play knight takes immediately in E4 and knight F6, or simply bishop E7. And another possibility is to play immediately long castle, castle queenside. And theory again, very complicated. And after king B1, if white took in D6, the advantage is very small because black is trying to play always on the D5 square, by playing later B5 and so on, and have a strong knight in D5. It is the idea of this opening, you see. So, okay, after king B1 took, and knight there, queen E2, and B5. Well, until now, everything is more or less theory, you see. B5 is a normal move in such a position because black tries to come immediately on a very strong field, the square D5 is very important. If you can put a knight there for a long time, it seems to be very good for black, you see.
Yeah. So he's preparing that.
Yeah. So now Judith played the most natural move, knight e5, of course, trying to get some space, Now black has to decide, takes immediately in e5 or plays first a6 with the idea to come later on with the move c5. If black has time to come to c5, it's okay for black. If nothing happens quickly, then black is okay. That was the alternative, So
Yeah.
Kortschnoj took in d5 or in e5, thinking that if he comes with the knight in d5, is very good, no problem. So took knight d5, and now a very strong move, rook h4. Rook h4 is very good because gives black the possibility to choose a plan. There are many plans here. Now, first of all, if he decides to castle queenside, is a little bit dangerous because the king in c8 will be a little bit exposed after the simple move c4, c4 takes with the rook from h4 and, comes very quickly on the c file.
Yeah.
And the c pawn from c6 is weak, and then some problems for black, many problems. So, okay, if he wants to play on the other side, with castle, then he has the possibility to come very quickly with rook g4 or g4, g5, that two ideas,
Yeah.
So, okay, he has to decide what to do, and
So actually, hard decision.
Yeah, no, it's
Difficult.
You have to decide what to do. So, okay, he castle. Okay, and now after castle, she didn't change the plan. The other possibility was rook g4, but it's not very clear. When now rook g4, he can play immediately king h8, and okay, more or less all right, Better for white, but not very clear. And okay, g4, she wants to give a pawn for initiative, So now queen e7, g5, of course, g5 takes, and rook g4. And now what to do? It has to play probably f6, the way Kortschnoj played, Because if he allows white to take immediately in g5 and then double the rooks and so, it's very dangerous for black, So, okay, takes, and now takes with the pawn. What to do? Only with the pawn, And now f4. f4, and here e5. Well, this is one of the most important moments of the game because white could probably decide to take in g5. It seems very unclear because after f takes g5, black can play immediately f5, and now is a race, you see.
Yeah.
And the possibility is it could be like this, They commented the game afterwards, you see. So f takes g5, and everything will be more or less forced. Now f5, rook back to g1, yeah? And now e4, e4.
E4?
E4, yes. I mean, black tries to come quickly with the 2 pawns, So, okay, e4, g6. Who is first now? g6, f4, of course. f4, h6. Yeah. And now it seems that black is all right, if he plays, for instance, e3 first, e3, trying to come with the other one immediately, But now after queen h5, black is lost. I mean, gives the bishop. Now, if you take the bishop in d2, is immediately lost for black after g7.
G7?
Threatens the rook and threatens mate with h7 mate,
Oh, yes.
And there's terrible attack, here. Yeah. So, okay, it was very complicated, but if she had some time, probably she could decide to play like this. It was much easier than the game, you see. Well, she took the other pawn in e5, and Kortschnoj found some very nice moves to try to defend a very difficult position. And finally, Judit had to win again the game, the second time,
So he escaped from this complications.
Well, more or less. It's not sure, but it seems that it was very good for white if she played like this,
Yeah.
So, okay, she took there, but it seems also excellent for white, even now. But after king h8, it's a little bit unclear. Now again, she could take a decision by playing e6. Now the problem is the pawn from e6 is very strong or weak. If black can attack many times the pawn could be weak. But in this position probably is very strong, because if you can't attack immediately, it's very unpleasant for black. What to do after rook e8, for instance? After rook e8, rook e1, and then she can even triple with the rook in e4. And good attacking chances. If she has one move, to attack the pawn f6, is enough to win, probably, with such a fantastic pawn in e6,
Yeah.
But okay, she didn't play like this. She played natural here, the move rook e1. It seems excellent for black. But now again, Kortschnoj played natural and very good, rook e8, the only defense, of course. And here, queen d1. And here, black found a fantastic move, very natural again, queen d7. Why is very strong? Because now white has to take a decision. If now white takes, for instance, in f6, no?
Yes.
After rook takes e1, white is probably lost already, Because after rook takes e1, if you take with the queen in e1, you lose the rook. If you take with the bishop, you lose the queen after knight c3 check.
Oh, okay.
This is very tricky, queen d7.
Yeah.
And after queen d7, white has to lose one tempo, and therefore it's much more complicated, So now you have to go back with the rook. And immediately here, with the king a little bit safer in h8, black can take back in e5. And now it's not very clear. Okay, it's better for white, but it's not immediately winning or in a few moves, you say.
Yeah.
It's finally an end game later on, So, okay, so took, and now bishop takes g5. Again, very strong for white, but I tell you, with some counterplay, it's not very easy here. Yeah,
I see.
You have to have a very, very good technique, in such a position.
Equality, like a number of pieces.
More or less, no, better for white in any case, but you must show how, you see. You have to play very precisely until the end, you see. So therefore, the game is very interesting, starting from here again, the second phase of the game, you see.
Yeah.
Okay, queen f5 and bishop c1, very good. Now again, black could, what did she play? Queen e6. Well, the problem was that black could go wrong here, by playing immediately a move which seems very strong for black. I mean, to make draw, you know, or have even game. Queen f3, but very big surprise after queen f3, black is probably lost, you know, in a few moves. Now, queen d2. Now what happens? If she takes the pawn, no, you have to take the pawn, queen g2 with two threats, you know, mate in g7 and rook h1, and black can resign.
Yeah.
You know, very tricky again. So the king is, you know, a little bit exposed in h8, no? So he has to be very careful. Of course, he found the move, the good move, queen e6. Okay.
To protect this one.
Yeah, to
defend.
protect the checks, you know, the dangers. Queen e1, so white has to try all over again, you know. So, okay, queen e1, queen g. I mean, he wants to trade one piece, but now the problem is for black that he loses a pawn after this, you know. It was time trouble here because simply takes, and queen g1 check, and you lose the pawn from a7. Okay, you lose the pawn from a7, but it's not so simple, you know. You have to play an ending, I mean, end game, very complicated, and white finally wins the end game because of the pawn a, you know, very far away, you see. We'll see later on, you see. So, okay, starting from here, they maneuver a little bit. Black finds the best counterplay, you know, by playing e4. Now he wants to play quickly e3, you see. So it's move by move, you see. Now what is the problem? Now e3 is not good because simply... there
is checkmate.
Yeah, it's mate, of course, now. So you have to be careful what to do. So queen e5. No, queen e5. Yeah.
Yes.
So white has to try to win a tempo here, you see. The problem is that probably doesn't have time to take the pawn from c6 very quickly because e3 comes immediately and black has good game. You are forced to give a piece in e3. No? So you have to win a tempo by keeping the piece. I mean, not sacrificing the bishop from c1, you know. It's move by move, you see. So she tries to win a tempo, you know, by force, giving some checks inside, not in time trouble. Check, everything is, you know. So now again, here again, and queen check, and okay, probably they finished the time trouble, and she found a very strong move, queen c5. No. Queen c5, excellent move. Now, what is the problem now? e3, if she plays, I mean, if black plays here e3, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. After... what queen queen f8 check, yeah, king g6, king h7, and what was the problem? Yeah, another check, I think, in f7. No, in f7, and he goes back
in f7.
Yeah.
Why not taking? No.
Yeah, pardon. No, it's not possible. The king. This is the position, yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
But let's see what
no. Bishop takes e3 now. No, immediately bishop takes e3. The problem now is that you can't take, if he takes there, queen f8 and mate in g7.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is the problem, you know.
Yes,
and like this, she wins a tempo, you know. Yeah, she could win a tempo.
Yeah.
And this is decisive until the end. We'll see how, you see. Everything is forced afterwards. So, okay, now black has to move there.
Yes.
And now...
in order to take the pawn, yes, okay.
Yeah, now bishop e3. She has one tempo, you know.
Yeah.
So black has to move something, and he can't come back to h8, you know. If he could go back to h8, it's the same position. But it's impossible because he loses the queen after bishop d4, you know.
Yeah.
And that makes the big difference.
Okay.
So now you have to play the only move, king g6. And now, queen f6, pardon. And after queen f6, again check. Now you have to go there. And now she moves the bishop back, you know. She won the tempo, you see?
Yeah.
And that is decisive until the end. Why? We'll see. So comes back, and now queen g1 check, no? Now you have to go back to h7. And here, of course, she can play queen g5. Now it's Zugzwang. Now you have to decide. You agree to trade queens or not. If you don't agree to trade queens, white won a fantastic tempo, controls the diagonal, controls the square e3, and has one tempo to advance on the other side, you know. So, okay, he took in g5, but now this endgame is completely lost for black, you see. Very unpleasant, but it's move by move, you see. So takes, c5, king c1. Now the king is coming, you know, controls the squares. So now, what did she play? A3, of course. A3 is very important because little by little she wants to advance the pawns. You know, the idea is to come with the king in b2, you know,
Yes.
and then play b3, and then she makes a free pawn on the a file. You see, and that is decisive.
Yes.
Yeah. So there, king d2, no?
Yeah.
Back, and finally b3. So now you have to take, no? He took. Okay, and now bishop back, and black resigned, no?
Resigned,
Yeah,
yes.
resigned. But it's very simple now because you see the problem is that finally black is forced to give the knight for the pawn, for the a pawn, if he can. Okay, he can later on.
Yeah.
But it's enough to win for white because the square h8 is black, you see?
Yes.
And the bishop is also black. And therefore white wins, you know.
One detail. Yes.
Enough, you see. But of
Yes.
course, I told you before, it was much more complicated from one moment. She could probably win before
Yeah.
if she took in g5. It was much more complicated, but probably winning for white, you know. Like this, she want to win a study, you know, and it is really a tempo that wins in any position, you know.
She won 2 times in this
Yeah,
game.
twice. She had to
Twice.
win twice, the same game, you see.
Yeah.
But again, against a very strong opponent who found some very nice moves to defend, you see,
Yes.
and from a very difficult position, you know. Okay. Strengths, what can I say? Very strong player, you know.
True. Thank you.
You're